So I'm kind of curious, especially because you were talking about, the tactic of pushing for constitutional reform and some of the big policies that you're in favor of, Green New Deal, Medicare for all those sorts of things. These are things that have not been worked on by the current Democratic, caucus. Like, they have control of the Senate, they have control of the House. Um, we elected a centrist president. He tried to do a couple of things and has largely failed. And the earlier talk about reforming the filibuster or expanding the court, like, those things now seem sort of silly that I, as a progressive, thought might be possible under this president. But despite those failures and not really pushing for Medicare for all, Green New Deal, any of these sorts of things, I'm already hearing a lot of bubbling up that when the Democrats lose control of the House or Senate, which they think is a foregone conclusion, it'll be because the left pushed Biden too hard. The whole caucus became too crazy, too leftist. And so I'm worried that going forward, whether they keep control or not, there's going to be this reactionary swing to, I don't know, even more right. So I'm wondering what you think, like, the Democrats, the good Democrats, can do to win that battle of rhetoric, to make sure that if they do get back into power, that it's not wasted by being afraid in the way that they've sort of governed so far under Biden.
Well, I think what the Democrats need to do generally is to be bold. I think a lot of the members of the squad, besides the AOC, they don't exactly come from like super lefty places. They
Mm,
come from super working class places, and they come from
Mhm.
places where voters really connect with a politician that's actually talking about their day to day, their material conditions. Oh, I'm going to have more money. I'm going to have more this. I'm going to have more of that. I think they just need to look at history, because the Democratic Party, as much as it's the party that we all sort of got to be in, because we're not fascist, has this history of just like sucking up movements, giving them like a seat at the table and then telling them to shut the fuck up. And that has led to them moving further and further to the right, but also strategically moving into a place where it's less possible for them to have power. The Republicans have done a great job, not only of like, the school board, dog catcher, whatever, but they've also gerrymandered so much that even if Democrats get more votes year after year, Republicans can remain in control unless they make those big steps, unless we say we need transformative change, unless we end the filibuster in all instances. It's a done deal. And I think for Democrats to actually retain some type of power, they have to, take off the training wheels and get some shit done.
yeah. Yeah, and not run for reelection. Nancy Pelosi, my God. Yeah, I mean, I think also, having people who come, I don't know if I was hearing your distinction between the left and working class well enough, but I do think it is meaningful that people like Cori Bush, who were organizers, teachers, formerly homeless herself, you know, are serving currently,
Yeah.
like stayed up all night to fight for the eviction moratorium to be extended, which we know was a, complete fix it last minute thing, but it definitely helped people, right? To say that it's all performative is BS. Like, there are people sticking Jamal Bowman getting arrested with climate justice organizers, or trying to abolish a filibuster or amend the filibuster just the other day. So with yourself, there's more and more folks who are used to putting their bodies on the line, so to speak, who have been arrested, who have fought for against things at local levels. Um, and I think that's really meaningful.
Well,
Um,
and I think it also connects with a lot of young voters. I think like a lot of the folks in Sunrise right now are a bit older, but Generation Z and younger, like they were born into climate anxiety, and
mhm.
they're matured into puberty, like confused, like, wait, since I've been born, we've known this is a problem, but we're still not doing anything about it. Nobody's doing anything about it in a
Yep.
substantive way. So when you can connect to them, when you can say, hey, look, I know this is an emergency. I know this is a historic moment in human history, and I want to do something. I think that's how you get people to vote for you. I think that's how you get people to walk doors. I think that's how you get people to text bank and phone bank. Otherwise, it's just like, oh, there's that person who might be a little bit younger, or a Fauxgressive, which is what I call a lot of people across the country. They're younger, they're shinier, they say the right thing, but when the votes come up after they get elected, it's just center, and it keeps us in this stasis that's like, okay, we've given up. We're like the dinosaurs. We're just going to peace out. We're going to ride this out and, and enjoy our Sunday afternoon football.
Can you just tell me, I know you actually got sued. The city of Culver City got sued for trying to offer hospital workers heroes pay, due to the pandemic. Not just hospital workers, but grocery workers as well. You guys, that lawsuit got thrown out. But tell me how that happened and what you dared to offer the working people of Culver.
Well, a lot of cities passed zero pay for grocery workers. And then when they thought about doing it for hospital workers, there was a huge threat of a lawsuit. LA City did the same thing. They got the threat of a lawsuit and they backed off. So I think we're the only city in California, maybe one of the only cities in the nation that's passed it for medical workers. But prior to me bringing it to the council, I spoke with some workers from SEIU, UHW. I saw the conditions. I saw the fact that like the basement floods on a regular basis. Like the hospital in Culver City, Southern California Hospital, it's owned by a hedge fund, which is owned by a hedge fund. And they've been buying up, ProPublica wrote an article about it. They've been buying up hospitals that basically serve low-income people that are primarily Medicare for a long time. But the conditions, even pre-COVID there, like there was mold everywhere. There were holes everywhere. The COVID barrier for the COVID ward and the non-COVID ward, there are huge scratches in it. They weren't telling people when they contracted COVID and they didn't have adequate PPE. And I was like, okay, that's just a starting point. Then COVID gets worse. So we passed our ordinance. It was the reason that I joined a very hallowed club of California elected officials and was the subject of a recall. But the same week that the recall against me failed, the lawsuit was thrown out. And the reason some of the residents here wanted to start the recall was that they thought it was a waste of money. That
Wow.
passing here was a waste of money. We were having this discussion like spring of last year. The Delta variant hadn't taken off. They're like, the pandemic's over. And I was like, my mom's a nurse and my brother's a doctor and my sister-in-law's a doctor. My good friend's an epidemiologist. I don't think this is over.
That is insane to me. And great that you guys got that passed. I had something to say and then it left my brain so quick. Cause I'm just crushing it here on a Sunday. Last thing, we're going to try and get someone from California Nurses United to come on next week because AB 1400 here in the state, which is single payer healthcare, is going up for a vote in the state assembly. That's a huge step. It still has like 25 more steps to be possibly passed. To say nothing of Gavin Newsom, who may or may not sign it, even though he previously said he was for it. Any thoughts on single payer in California and any thoughts on like whether this is a good strategy, like that you look, the federal level is blocked. Let's go for it on this statewide level.
Well, I've been working with a lot of single payer groups for the last few years. It's something that I hope will move forward. But when you talk about performative, I think our California Assembly and State Senate are really like, I don't know, Broadway, but like tomorrow's vote, I hope it passes. But a lot of the cards were aligned were for SB 562. The single payer bill in California has passed the Assembly and the Senate at least 2 times and then being vetoed by a governor. It always seems like the Democrats are eager to pass it when there's a Republican governor that they know will veto it. And then when there's a Democratic government and we have supermajorities in the Assembly and the state Senate, they're like, oh, I don't know, like, how are we going to fund this? This seems very difficult, even though other countries did it like 70 years ago. I'm very hopeful for AB 1400, and I will be happy, after it passes this step tomorrow, hopefully. But the cynical part of me thinks it's an election year. And they want to seem to be trying as hard as they can and then, be incredibly apologetic once it fails. Like,
That is tough truths there. And yeah, Newsom for sure does not need this to win a re-election. Sadly, I wish progressives in the state had more power.
Well, my whole thought on Newsom, and I'll just say this and shut up, is it seemed like both him and Eric Garcetti wanted to run for president. Um, and every time I'm within the earshot of Gavin Newsom, I'm like, hey, if you want to be president, pass single payer healthcare. Because I mean,
You're
that's
saying
something
that
to
to
run.
him?
Yes, screaming it at him. But I mean, it's something to run on. It would
No
be an
shit.
actual accomplishment. Like, I don't know what Eric Garcetti did as mayor except increase homelessness, and I don't really know what Gavin Newsom did as governor.
Yeah, except maintain his seat. There have been some good things. I mean, extension to benefits for undocumented folks,
Undocumented.
I think, is really huge. But I feel like that is a lower bar considering where the electorate is in this state. We are so much farther to the left than our elected officials. And you're totally right about the performative nature of the assembly, which is, soaked in oil and gas money, real estate money. It is a crying shame. So, but I'm committed to this state. Although we may lose you come next year, come later this year. But best of luck, Daniel Wayne Lee. Thank you so much for letting us know. How can we get involved in your campaign, support it?
You can just go to my website. It's danielwaynelee.com, or you can find me on Instagram and Facebook at the Daniel Wayne Lee, or on Twitter at Daniel Wayne Lee 0.
Amazing. What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/bitchuation room. Do it.